Friends, family, and the community of Saugeen First Nation gathered today to say one final goodbye to Tina Fontaine. The Manitoba Advocate for Children and Youth released her much-awaited report on the death of Fontaine in 2014. The morning started with a drum song. Approximately 30 people filled this gymnasium to remember the 15-year-old, and hear the report that detailed how so many systems failed the girl. It was a day that weighed heavy for many in the room.
We have to also acknowledge the many other hundreds of children and youth who are falling through the cracks of our society's safety net, just like Tina.
The 150-page report titled "A Place Where It Feels Like Home," the story of Tina Fontaine, outlines the life and tragic death of the young girl. In August 2014, Fontaine's 72-pound body was pulled from Winnipeg's Red River, days after she was reported missing. The youth, who was originally from Saugeen First Nation, was in the city to spend time with her birth mother, when she quickly became a victim of exploitation.
People come to understand the indicators of exploitation, and that sadly enough for children when they are on the streets, nothing comes free.
DAPHNE Penrose, the children's advocate, made 5 recommendations in her report, including the need for better access to mental health and addiction services and a new protocol to address missing youth and sexually exploited youth. Fontaine was in the care of Child and Family Services, who consistently didn't know where she was or if she was in danger. 7 missing persons reports were filed with police in the 10 months prior to her death. Penrose says this is too common for kids in care.
And so we need to be able to pull that apart and understand when a child is missing with risk, those kids need responses. And that's why the recommendation is so important, so that work can be prioritized and joint child welfare and police systems can work together to find kids and bring them back to safety.
Lack of services was a major theme. Fontaine began to struggle after the death of her father in 2011. The report says support from victim services was not offered, nor was any counseling. She was being raised in what was, by all accounts, a loving home by her aunt and uncle who had no supports to help the girl. It was a common theme throughout her life, and eventually she became an exploited runaway bounced through the system. Penrose urged the government to immediately take action.
So what's at stake are the lives of children. What's at stake are that children are going to die if we don't make changes.
Saugeen Chief DERRICK Henderson calls the report a start.
Do what you have to do to protect those children, right? Do what you have to do. Jurisdiction should have no issue, right? It shouldn't be provincial, federal. We're talking about kids here, right? And that should have no bearing. If we can get to that where the communities are being listened to, I'm sure the numbers will go down.
Fontaine's death was a catalyst for change. It renewed calls for a national inquiry into missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, saw the reemergence of the Bear Clan Patrol, and saw the formation of Drag the Red. Penrose says the province needs to act quickly, but it is also up to the rest of Canada to make sure this doesn't happen again.
It is not this report that changes it. It is what happens with everybody who is reading this report from this point forward. We all have the responsibilities.
Fontaine's great-aunt and primary caregiver, Thelma Fable, wasn't in attendance this morning. The family has asked for privacy at this time, but I did speak with Fable on Monday, and she said that she hopes Tina can finally rest and that this report will help with that. BRITTANY HOBSON, APTN National News, Saugeen First Nation.